Spring is in the air, and of course, it's National Poetry Month. Now, we understand that perhaps poetry isn't really your thing, but you might want to give it a try. You don't even have to get all Dead Poet Society by jumping on a desk and reciting poems, but you can simply watch our video and click on the links below to read one. So without further ado, and with disclaimers that this list is by no means the be-all end-all, here are our top 7 American poems to read for National Poetry Month. Number 7, Dirge Without Music by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Millay was born in Rockland, Maine on February 22, 1892. She won the 1923 Pulitzer Prize for Poetry and was the first woman to win the award. Her modernist poetry was passionate and lyrical, and she used a bunch of forms like sonnets and free verse. She wrote about love, loss, feminism, sexuality, and male and female roles. Very controversial topics for the day. This is one of our favorite Millay poems because it pushes hard against death's callousness. It also refuses to give in to it. Despite the inevitability that eventually the Grim Reaper collects all living things, Millay rejects sentimentality in favor of tough-minded stoicism. The opening line and ending lines are real bangers. Number 6, Harlem by Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes was born on February 1, 1901 in Joplin, Missouri. One of the earliest innovators of jazz poetry, Hughes is best known as a leader of the Harlem Renaissance. Jazz poetry uses jazz-like rhythm or the feel of improvisation and also uses the whole jazz scene itself as a topic. It's made to be performed and has kind of always been somewhere outside the mainstream. It began in the 1920s by African Americans, was maintained in the 1950s by the Beat Generation, and then adapted into hip-hop music and live poetry slams. Harlem is a response to the challenges Hughes faced as a black man in the white-dominated world. It questions the fate of postponed dreams, specifically the potential consequences of withholding equality from black Americans. Number 5, The Raincoat by Ada Limon. Ada Limon was born in Sonoma, California in 1976. In 2022, she was named the 24th Poet Laureate of the United States by the Librarian of Congress. This made her the first Latina to be Poet Laureate of America. Limon is known for writing with preciseness, candor, and intimacy. She writes about nature and human interaction, animals, loss, family, and chronic illness. The Raincoat is Limon's loveliest insight into the mother-daughter dynamic. The image of the raincoat, seen at the end, is an achingly beautiful metaphor expressing something profoundly true about parent-child relationships. She is a modern poet whose work you don't want to miss. Number 4, Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was born Marguerite Anna Johnson, April 4, 1928, in St. Louis, Missouri. Angelou led an exciting life as a civil rights activist, singer, dancer, actress, composer, and Hollywood's first female black director. She became most famous, though, as a writer, editor, essayist, playwright, and poet. Her writing style is very direct and conversational. She presents issues in an unflinching way and utilizes literary devices such as metaphor, imagery, call and response, eye dialect, and figurative language. Still I Rise is a poem about picking yourself up and striving to achieve, despite massive difficulty. It's kind of a poem of protest, which is defiant as well as celebratory. A poem about the power of the human spirit to overcome racist discrimination and obstacles that seem impossible. It is an inspiring poem that will give you the boost you might need today. Number 3, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was born March 26, 1874 in San Francisco, California. Known for his realistic portrayal of rural life and his command of American conversational speech, Frost frequently wrote poems set in rural New England in the early 20th century. He used these pastoral places to highlight complex, social, and philosophical themes. Frequently honored during his lifetime, Frost is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He was also the first poet to be tapped to read at the presidential inauguration. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening focuses on the individual's journey and decision-making. The poem's introspective and profound tone also reflects the values of individualism and self-reliance. The speaker's contemplation of death and the unknown illustrates the American tendency to confront and face challenges head-on rather than shying away from them. The poem has a great rhyme scheme and is easy to read and feel. Number 2, Number 479 by Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson was born on December 10, 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts. Dickinson was a bit of a recluse and quite a prolific writer, but the only things of hers published during her lifetime were one letter and only 10 poems, despite the fact that she wrote about 1,800 of them. Since Emily was a bit of a stylistic rebel, the poems that were published at the time were usually edited significantly to fit the normal poems of the day. Her work often deals with themes of death and immortality, aesthetics, society, nature, and spirituality. Number 479, sometimes known as Because I Could Not Stop for Death, is possibly Dickinson's best-known poem. It's a depiction of the speaker's journey into the afterlife with personified death leading the way. It is a thesis on her philosophy on the finality of death. Dickinson shows readers through this poem that death can be accepted with a sense of seriousness, but also with peace and reflection. Number 1, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar A. Poe was born in 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. Poe was an American writer, poet, editor, and literary critic who is best known for his poetry and short stories, particularly his tales involving mystery and the macabre. He's credited as being one of the leading authors of Romanticism and Gothic fiction in the US while American literature was in its infancy. What people don't know, however, is that he was first and foremost a poet. The first literary work he published was poetry, not short stories or essays. Though his poem The Bells is incredible and also worth your time, we still recommend The Raven as our number 1 pick. The dark and dreary setting, the unnamed narrator, the grief and longing for a love who has been deceased, combined with a supernatural raven. This is a narrative poem you don't want to miss, and possibly the most perfect poem ever written. Obviously, the best choice on a cloudy day with a cup of hot tea. We hope these poems delight you this month and open doors for you to explore more work by these authors. Again, make sure you check the description below for all the links of the poems and let us know which ones you liked and why.